Hey guys, Jack the foster mom here. I actually wanted to talk to you today about a pretty upsetting story that I was reading about. An 18-month-old child in Blount County, Alabama. He passed away in November of 2023. About a week ago, a grand jury indicted his foster parents for his murder. Mason and Brooklyn Grimes are charged with capital murder of a child, murder, felony murder, and aggravated child abuse under the age of 6. Court documents were made public on Wednesday, letting everyone know about this. The 18-month-old child arrived at the hospital emaciated, asystolic, and cold to touch. I'm looking at a couple different sources. Some of them say that he had lost half of his body weight from the previous 2 months, and some of the sources say he lost a third of his body weight. Either way, that is a huge amount of weight to lose in such a short amount of time. Here is where the story gets weird. The foster parents had this child from the age of 3 months old. So they had him from 3 months old to 18 months old when he passed away. Apparently, this child was flourishing in their home up until September of last year. In September of 2023, the child was diagnosed with a number of genetic and congenital diseases. And at that time, an appointment was made for the following month, but the foster parents didn't bring the child to that appointment. And the hospital reached out to the foster family and there was no response. And then a month later in November of 2023, that is when the Grimes family brought their foster son to the hospital, and he was emaciated and cold and asystolic, and he had stopped breathing. So what happened? What made them change the way they treated him? From the time the child received the diagnosis in September, 2 months later, to have lost at least a third of his body weight, maybe half of his body weight, to appear to have been neglected medically and potentially starved to death? I'm confused about this because one of the articles mentioned that the child had a different physical appearance due to some of these genetic issues. So that being the case, wouldn't they have known, wouldn't they have been able to see this from when they received placement of him when he was 3 months old? So what was it about this diagnosis that made them stop taking care of this child? If they didn't feel like they were able to take care of this child, as foster parents, we have total freedom at any point in time to close our home or to let them know that we're not able to keep a placement any longer. We are not contracted to maintain a placement, and if we feel like it's not in the child's best interest or they need something that we can't give them, it's our responsibility to make that known and to make that happen. The foster dad is posting on social media saying, oh, the truth will get out there. This was the system's fault, basically. There is no way that this doesn't land on his shoulders. When you have a child who is wasting away and you don't bring him to the hospital, you don't bring him to the doctor, you're not making sure he's being fed. And then if you're not able to do those things, you have to relinquish the placement. You can't keep a child that is declining in such a way and you're not doing anything to stop it. Obviously, I don't know all the facts and people are innocent until proven guilty, but this is a very, very concerning case. As foster parents, you have the responsibility of someone else's child, the life of their child in your hands. And for you to not take care of that in such a careful way is horrendous. And if these foster parents had a hand in causing this child's death, I hope they're convicted swiftly. This is a terribly sad case, and while I'm sure more information will come out, the facts seem pretty cut and dry at this point. The biological parents of this child, regardless of what they may have done or may have not done, for them to have their child taken from them for the child's protection, and then for the child to be mistreated, neglected, abused, and essentially murdered in foster care, I can't imagine what that must feel like to the parents. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I feel like we need to know what's going on in the foster care system all across the country.